All right, friends. So today we started our pumpkin packet, and tomorrow we're going to keep working on it. So in this spot, we just put our name on the cover and colored it. And then on the first page here, it says height. Height is how tall something is. And we took out one of these Unifix cubes and we looked at that. And then we compared it to our pumpkin. So here's the pumpkin. It's a big guy, okay? And here is the Unifix cube. And on this page, it says to estimate. And an estimate is kind of like when we make a prediction in reading. It's like making a scientific guess. You're guessing, what do you think? Looking at this and looking at the pumpkin, how many Unifix cubes tall do you think the pumpkin is? So it says, before you measure your pumpkin, estimate how tall it is. An estimate is a good guess based on what you know. My estimate is that our pumpkin is blank Unifix cubes tall. And I had everybody make their guess in marker because that way you can't change your guess. So go ahead, make your guess there. And write it down. Did you write it down in marker? Okay, if you didn't, pause the video, go ahead and write it down in marker. And now you're going to see exactly how many Unifix cubes tall. Drawing a line here to the top of the stem. It is 15 cubes tall. So now, down at the bottom, our pumpkin is actually blank Unifix cubes tall. And you write that 15 in there. So your guess went in there, and now your actual 15 Unifix cubes goes in there. Okay? All right. So our next spot is weight. Okay? And this page up at the top says weight, and it says weight means how heavy something is. Okay? And when we did our apples, we weighed our apples using cubes and a balance, and we also used a scale. And we used this scale, and this scale we used to weigh our apple. And the apple is nice and light, right? What about this pumpkin? You think we could put the pumpkin on here? Probably a little too heavy, right? So we need to use a little bigger scale for this one. So I pulled out this scale that I keep at school, and this is called a bath scale because normally you find this in a bathroom. And first thing we did is we used it to weigh ourselves. And most of the kids were somewhere between 40 and 65 pounds. So on that very first line, you weigh yourself. And if you don't have a scale at home, don't worry. We can do it at school sometime. I weigh blank pounds. So you write that number right there on the line. Then it says, my estimate is that our pumpkin weighs blank pounds. So now you think in your head, how many pounds do I think the pumpkin might weigh? And one of the questions I asked the boys and girls was, I was 145 pounds and the kids were 40 to 65 pounds. Do you think that this pumpkin is going to be heavier or lighter than us? Some kids said heavier, some kids said lighter. And they wrote a guess right there. So that's what you want to do with your marker is make an estimate, make an educated guess. How many pounds do you think the pumpkin will be? And I'll have to say my estimate was off. I was pretty close on the Unifix cubes, but I was a little off on the pumpkin. The pumpkin's pretty heavy. He's not as light as I thought he was going to be. Okay, are we ready? So now we put the pumpkin... Make sure this is right on the scale. And our pumpkin is 25 pounds. Can you believe it? 25 pounds. So down here on the line, you're going to say, our pumpkin weighs 25 pounds. You're going to write it on the bottom line. So that first line is how much you weigh. The second line was your guess. What did you guess how much the pumpkin weighed? And then The last line is it was 25 pounds. All right, we did 2 more pages today. We did the circumference. When we did the circumference for the apple, we talked about it. The circumference is how big around something is. So we're talking about around the pumpkin, how big around it. And if you remember, we use a tape measure for this. Can't use a ruler, right? Because it bends. So the measurement that we have here is 30 inches. Do you think our pumpkin is going to be more than 30 inches around or less than 30 inches around? So right here, if you think it's going to be more than 30 inches, you're going to check in this box. If you think it's going to be less than 30 inches, you are going to check in this box. Okay, what do you think? More or less? Make your check mark. Are you ready? Here we go. Did this like 3 times today too. Okay, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. We are at, I'll turn it around this way so you can see it. Third time's a charm. We are at, I swear I can do this. I can be smarter than this pumpkin, I swear, boys and girls. Okay, there we go. I'm about ready to go get a piece of tape. All right, there we go. 45 inches right there. 45. So on this line, we are going to write our pumpkin is 45 inches. That is, what word do we need there? You are right. We need the word more. That is more. So our pumpkin is 45 inches, and you're going to write the word more on the line. More. I just did it with color so you could see it. 45 inches, it is more. Okay, now next on this page, we made each one of our pumpkin faces. So we have choices here. We can either make our pumpkin happy, we can make our pumpkin sad, spooky, or afraid. So you're going to make a face on each one and then circle the one that you want. We'll add your vote to the graph. And this is what our graph turned out like. Our graph turned out as we had 8 votes for happy, 0 votes for sad, 12 votes for spooky, and 1 vote for afraid. So even if our absent friends vote, it is still going to, the winner is still going to be spooky face. So tomorrow we will be carving our pumpkin with a spooky face. The other thing that you can do is make a guess here on the number of seeds. Do you think that the next page is number of seeds? Do you think that we're going to have more than 50 seeds, or do you think we're going to have less than 50 seeds? So if you think that we're going to have more than 50 seeds, you're going to check in the box that says more than 50 seeds. If you think we're going to have less, you can check in the box that says we're going to have less. Okay, and tomorrow we'll be able to tell you. And then the last page, we're just going to list some words that are going to describe the pumpkin pulp. And we said, you know, the pumpkin pulp is the stuff inside the pumpkin. So I hope this is clear, and I hope you were able to pause it and make your estimates and do this part of the packet. and I will send you the rest tomorrow. Have a good night. Miss you. Bye.